So, as we watched Facebook and Libra be grilled in front of Congress yesterday, one thing became very clear. The US government views the technology that powers Libra as a direct threat to the monetary system of the US and the United States dollar. Why then is Bitcoin, which wasn't mentioned much, seemingly at the heart of this debate? Why then is it dropping in value? Blockchain and cryptocurrency are at the forefront of the national discourse and being discussed with the seriousness that they deserve. So let's dig into that. Why is the US Congress so against Libra? How does this affect Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies? And what are the implications of this in a larger scale on a longer time frame? Let's find out. Welcome to Ready Set Crypto. This is your brain on blockchain. So of course, as the market starts to recede, you might be feeling some frustration or a sense that you're not able to capitalize on the way the market's moving. That's why we pride ourselves on the educational content that we provide at Ready Set Crypto. And to meet that need, we're offering a 20% discount on Doc's trend trading class, which will teach you how to trade a market that's going up, down, or sideways. And also be sure to check out our Omnia service where you get all of our classes for one low price, as well as our daily premium newsletter and access to our mastermind group, where we essentially try to answer one question every day: how to make you money. So to understand why Libra is such a massive threat, and to understand why lawmakers are investigating Libra with such fervor as they have, we should first understand Libra itself. Of course, Libra is a stablecoin, Libra is issued by Facebook. These are things you can easily glean from their website. After all, Libra is a simple idea with great consequences if successful. The true implication here is that it might change the face of money as we know it. Money has, until the rise of decentralized cryptocurrencies, been the primary instrument of the state and central banks. What strikes me is that never before has a company just decided to start issuing money of their own, until now. I mean, think about it. Anyone in the world will be able to store their Libra on their phone or their online wallet and use it instantly from anywhere. Obviously, that's the goal of any cryptocurrency, but Libra has a head start and a massive advantage being based off of Facebook's social networks. Of course, those in the third world without a bank will suddenly have access to a financial system, allowing them to save their money or utilize it in ways they've never had before. With billions of people that don't have banks, but increasingly have phones and internet access, this is a huge opportunity. Don't forget that Facebook is increasingly the one providing them with free internet. So of course, it's hard to look at Libra and deny the fact that our motivations run in parallel in a lot of ways. After all, they're banking the unbanked. What's not to like? Well, the problem is that Facebook is a known troublemaker. They don't have a respect for people's privacy. In fact, they see it as an asset. Obviously, Cambridge Analytica was a disaster, and the rise of fake news can easily be attributable to Facebook. But I don't think that's actually what the US is most concerned with. You see, Libra is in competition with the US dollar. There are two incredibly important aspects to this. First, the US dollar is de facto the world's reserve currency. It's held by other governments in their reserves as it is a stable currency and they know it will retain its value. The second implication is that the money used to buy Libra is not just retained in a bank, it's also used to buy debt obligations that are issued by states. It stands to reason that if Libra is successful, it makes sense for countries to hold Libra in their reserves. Indeed, Libra would compete with the US dollar in this regard. After all, the way the US dollar functions as the world's reserve currency isn't just symbolic. Foreign governments usually don't choose to hold dollars directly. Instead, they buy US treasuries, which are US debt. This is incredibly important for the US as it helps the government fund its budget. A total of 16 trillion of such US treasuries are outstanding. This is about 4 times the total amount of cash that's circulating, and foreign governments hold about 39% of this debt. In his article, Miles Milston explains the key takeaways from this. First, foreign governments are of crucial importance to the US, and they have to keep buying US government debt, or the US deficit will spin out of control. The second takeaway is that if they don't, the interest rates the US government has to pay to borrow money will go up. making it more and more expensive to get loans and making the government's budget deficit increasingly worse. Quite simply, if foreign governments decide to hold Libra instead of buying US treasuries, the US is in for a long night. Now, of course, you can say that because Libra is planning to use the money they receive from users to buy debt in governments, they could easily use their money to buy US treasuries. And you'd be right, they absolutely could. They could buy debt from governments to ease their budgets. But of course, the Libra Association is free to spend that money in any way that it wants. So it's not obligated to buy US treasuries or even hold US dollars. In other words, if Libra is wildly successful, it would get insane bargaining power against governments across the world. It might cause a shift of macroeconomics as we know it. Again, if Libra is out to displace the US dollar as the global reserve currency, or at least take some of its market share of that, Libra could potentially negotiate with other governments as follows. We will buy your debt as collateral for Libra if you hold Libra as a reserve currency instead of US dollars. And what I want to stress to you is how great of a proposal this is for a smaller government. They would be assured that, for one, they would be putting their money into something that's very stable. Second, that their money would be used to buy their own debt, which eases their budget and ensures they can lend more money while paying less interest on that. And third, they will not get hurt by probable inflation of the US dollar. So if you made it this far, you should definitely pat yourself on the back, because understanding the macroeconomic forces at play here is something that I don't see a lot of the cryptocurrency industry talk about. I mean, we often talk about how Bitcoin could potentially become a new world currency or potential competitor to the US dollar, but I don't think enough people take the time to actually understand what that means, the implications of that, how that will change things as we know them. And what really strikes me about yesterday's hearing is the fact that this is just the weather vane of what's to come. Sure, it's Facebook today, but it'll be Google and Amazon tomorrow. This is just the first crack in a dam that is full to bursting. Even if you leave aside the fact that Libra will get insane amounts of insanely valuable financial data, and even if you ignore Facebook's issue with privacy in the past, it makes sense for politicians and regulators to start asking these bigger, broader questions. Wouldn't you want to know Libra's policies and plans beforehand? Wouldn't you want to at least get a chance to think about how to regulate a privately issued money governed by a cartel of the most powerful companies in the world? So I think this is just a sign of what's to come. They're already looking at regulating Libra like a central bank. And on top of all of this, where Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies fall in, I think is playing as the antithesis of the centralized control of central banks and big corporations like Facebook. We continue to succeed by being the anti-market, the anti-asset, the anti-control. And quite honestly, I think the fight has just begun. So if you've liked this content, please consider subscribing. Again, head over to our website to get on our free newsletter and get that discount on Doc's trend trading class that will help you better trade this erroneous market. Once again, this has been Ready Set Crypto. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.